Something peculiar happened in almost every episode of Wednesday Season 1, and it all hints that Edgar Allan Poe wasn't the only influence on Nevermore's founding. I may be overthinking it, but was Nevermore Academy modeled after House Ravenclaw? I don't mean, did Tim Burton use Hogwarts as an inspiration? No, that's boring and pedestrian. What I mean is, in the universe of the Wednesday television series, does Nevermore have a connection to those wand-wielding eagles from across the pond? I think it's possible, thanks to a line revealed by Uncle Fester, that Nathaniel Falkner traveled the world and cataloged outcast communities. While wizards have chosen seclusion rather than be forced into exile, they would still fit the definition of an outcast community. Which means there is a chance Falkner was one of the few muggles to walk the Hogwarts halls. And I believe he brought what he saw with him to America when he founded Nevermore. A passing glance at Ravenclaw Tower will show you a common room with a wide window that overlooks the grounds, which definitely fits the description of Ophelia Hall. The Academy not only has an expansive array of old and dusty books, but it even has a hidden library of even older and dustier books, which is a huge flex over having a chained-off forbidden section. And how do you get into the hidden library? By solving a riddle, which is exactly how Ravenclaws gain admission into their common room. Also, the uniform preference for blue harkens to their house colors. Nevermore even throws shade on the other three Hogwarts founders. That fireplace in Weems' office looks an awful lot like the Chamber of Secrets, treating Slytherins as though a bearskin rug tamed at the principal's feet. Hufflepuffs are studious workers like the noble bumblebee, and the outcast community among school activities is beekeeping, a subtle burn. And let's not forget how the analog for the Sword of Gryffindor broke like glass. It also appears that Falkner borrowed from Hogwarts as a whole. Herbology isn't a normal subject in American schools, but it is in Nevermore. Expelled students leave by way of the train station. The staff is chill about casual violence and bloodshed. The Academy has its own Hogsmeade in the town of Jericho that it props up. And there's no way I can ignore that the Poe Cup is really just a consolidation of the House Cup and the Triwizard Tournament. But back to Ravenclaw. It was more than just structure and aesthetic that Falkner lifted. He also held strong to the student characteristics of wisdom, cleverness, wit, intellectual ability, and creativity, which is undeniable that every character in Wednesday possesses. Except maybe Kent. Ravenclaws are famously accepting of eccentricities, like our beloved Luna Lovegood, which is a direct correlation to the embrace of outcasts in Nevermore, where those who don't belong, belong. They even accepted a severed and moving hand as its own person. Of course, Ravenclaws are known for their competitive spirit, to the point of backstabbing their own friends, which is on full display during the Poe Cup, where one team even tried to decapitate another, and no one blinked an eye. And at last, the elephant in the room is Edgar Allan Poe himself. A world-famous poet, a literary icon, is the motif upon which this book lover-inspired school was draped. Even Wednesday herself exhibits every trait of her counterparts from across the pond. Wisdom in her ability to solve a decades-old crime. Cleverness in her ability to flout every watchful eye upon her, over and over and over. Wit in that sassy attitude that can only come from a team of highly sarcastic writers. Intellectual ability in her inexhaustible knowledge of all things practical and scholarly, like her fluency in at least 2 languages. Finally, creativity in her love of whodunit writing and covering rock classics on cello. She plainly states her core truth to Morticia: everything is a competition. And the Gothic gumshoe's mere presence rounds out the Ravenclaw flair. She embodies a mother-daughter friction that defined Helena Ravenclaw, in that Wednesday is trying to exist outside of her mother's immense shadow. And she's even the heir to the Nightshades, which was founded by Goody Adams, making her as close to royalty in Nevermore as any heir to a Hogwarts founder. Finally, her uncontrolled visions hearken to another legacy student, Professor Trelawney, who gave the prophecy that would bind Harry Potter to Voldemort. This actual final one is a stretch, but Hermione should have been in Ravenclaw, and she had Crookshanks as a familiar, just as Wednesday has Thing, who is much more useful. And that is everything I noticed. But of course, I'm sure you caught a bunch of examples that I missed, so please educate me in the comments down below. Then again, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Maybe Nevermore is no more than any school could be that's modeled upon Edgar Allan Poe. And maybe the Slytherin in me just wanted an excuse to point out that the Sword of Gryffindor broke into pieces. But I kinda like my theory better, so I'm rolling with it. Until next time, keep reading between them lines. If you enjoyed this theory, you should totally check out my Harry Potter video, where I make the case that Harry's wand chose the wrong wizard, and why it means he may not live to see his 40s. And please, take care of yourselves out there, and I'll talk at you next time.